Hello everyone, this is Jonathan, the Senior Client Support Specialist at BlueDAG. In this video, we'll examine findings details in BlueDAG's evaluation suite. Let's begin. Every evaluation has a Findings tab, where the barrier findings for the evaluation are stored, organized, and managed. The system provides 3 levels of organization for findings: sections, areas, and spaces. All 3 levels are user-defined, allowing you to organize your findings to fit your needs. Sections are the highest level of organization. This example has 2 sections: public access and employee only. Sections can only contain area descriptions, which are the next level of organization provided by BlueDAG. For example, here are the area descriptions, sales counter, and dining area. Area descriptions can contain individual barrier findings. Area descriptions can also contain spaces, the third and lowest level of organization BlueDAG provides for findings. Spaces can contain 1 or more barrier findings. To recap, sections can contain areas, areas can contain findings and spaces can contain findings. Let's add a new section. I'll click the Add Section button. In this box, I'll type the name I want for this section. I'll click Save. And now we have our new exterior section. Now let's add a new area description to my new section. I can do this one of 2 ways. I can click the Add Area button in the upper right corner of this screen, or use the plus button on the section header bar. I'll use the plus button since it will add the new area description directly to my new section. I'll type a name for my new area description in this box. The section drop-down indicates that this new area will be added to my exterior section. Click Save to add the new area description. Here it is, immediately under the exterior section. Now, let's add a space to my new parking lot area description. To do this, I click the blue plus button on the parking lot area header bar. Now I'll type the name for this new space. Note that the modal indicates the space will be added to the parking lot area. Click Save to add the new space. There it is, right under my parking lot area in the exterior section. As with barrier findings, there's no limit to the number of sections, area descriptions, and spaces you can add to an evaluation. Now let's add a finding. To add a finding, I click the green plus button on the header bar of the area, or space, where I want the finding to reside. I'll add a finding to my access aisle space. A new finding page loads on the left half of the screen. To begin adding a barrier finding, we first locate the master finding that describes the barrier. We do this by using the barrier finder. We start by selecting the group that contains the barrier type from this drop-down. I'm recording a parking lot access aisle barrier, so I'll select Parking Off-Street. Now I have a second drop-down for choosing the type of off-street parking barrier. The type I need is access aisle. Now I have a subtype selector to choose from. Depending on the barrier, up to 5 levels of drop-downs may be presented. Let's say the issue I've observed with the access aisle concerns striping. Now I'll choose the problem with the striping here. In this case, the access aisle striping is missing. I've now located the master finding for this barrier. The off-street parking access aisle striping is missing. No more barrier finder drop-downs appear once the master finding has been located. Note that the finding description has been filled in for me. Immediately below that, we see the relevant citation from the applicable barrier code. If I want, I can record more data for this finding, such as writing a recommendation, uploading pictures, ranking it with a priority, and so on. Let's look at these additional data points. The feature field lets me add this finding to a user-defined category. This allows me to group my findings into 1 or more custom categories. As I create featured categories, they automatically populate the list of choices here. I can choose one of the existing ones or create a new one by clicking the plus button and typing in the name of my new feature category. I'll click Save, and now my new feature, Markings, is available to select here. The item field allows me to add specificity to the finding. By default, the value in the item field will match what I've selected for feature. Item is a freeform text field. I can change it to whatever I want. I'll note that this finding is for access aisle number 1 in the item field. As built condition is where I record the current state of the barrier. If the finding text does not provide enough detail, or if I wish to add more information about the condition of the barrier, I can do so here. For this barrier, I'll note that the striping is missing. As mentioned before, the finding text is auto-populated with a pre-written description provided by BlueDAG. BlueDAG's subject matter experts created this text to describe the barrier and the requirements of the applicable accessibility code in plain English. This field is editable, so you can modify the text or create your own as you see fit. The citations section shows the accessibility code citations for this finding. These are not editable, but are displayed here for informational purposes and can also be included in a report. The recommendation field allows you to record your recommendation for remediating the barrier. I'll put add striping for access aisle as my recommendation. The budget range section is where you can provide an estimate to fix the barrier. You can record a low and high value for your estimate. Some of BlueDAG's master findings contain default budget range values that will populate when you select the finding. These default estimates are provided for informational purposes only, and it is strongly recommended that you edit them to reflect applicable rates and costs. Barrier priority ranks the finding in terms of urgency for remedial action. 5 predefined levels of severity are available to choose from. If there's an approximate date or deadline for correcting the barrier, the estimated remediation date can be recorded here. Status indicates the current state of the finding. By default, newly recorded findings have a status of open. Additional statuses include corrected for a finding that has been remediated, compliant for a finding determined to comply with applicable codes, and one or more additional selections that may be available depending upon your subscription type. Exclude from report allows you to hide a finding from the report generator so it will not appear in a report. The default value for this option is no. Change it to yes to exclude a finding from your evaluation report. The image box in the upper left corner of the screen is where we can upload and associate images with this finding. Click the image icon to open the Findings Photos dialog. Here I can upload photos for this finding, manage any existing images for this finding, or paste a picture from my clipboard. I'll drag and drop a couple of photos here. Once they appear in this space, I click Upload to add them to my finding. Each photo gets a check mark indicating that it's been successfully uploaded to the finding. I'll close this dialog. Now we see the first of the 2 photos I uploaded displayed here. I'll click the photo to open the Photos dialog again. I'll choose Manage or Edit Existing Photos. Now I can see all the photos associated with this finding, and which is the main photo. If I want to use a different picture for my main photo, I hover over it with my mouse, then click the Set as Main Photo icon. Now that picture is my main finding photo. You can also associate any other evaluation photo with this finding by clicking on it. I'll close the Photos dialog. The figure area is just below the Findings Photos box. If a standard illustration that shows the conforming condition is available in BlueDAG's Master Findings database, it will be displayed here. Our missing access aisle striping finding has no associated figure, so nothing is displayed here. Latitude-longitude displays the geolocation data that was captured with the finding. I recorded this finding on my desktop computer, so the values for this field come from the property's physical address, which I entered when I initially set up the evaluation. If I had recorded this finding on site using the BlueDAG mobile app, I would have been able to capture the actual geolocation coordinates on my GPS-enabled device. Either way, I can edit the coordinates manually here, or click the Show Map button, drag the pin on the map, and the coordinates will update to match the new pin location. I can also add a second or end set of coordinates if my issue spans a distance rather than existing in a single location. If I click Add End Latitude and Longitude, a second pin appears on the map directly on top of the first. I can click and drag the second pin to the end location of the issue, and optionally adjust the location of the first pin if needed. The map now shows the start and end locations of the issue, with a line connecting the pins to show that they are both part of the same finding. Wheel and direction is where you record length and direction data from a measuring wheel if you use one. This information can optionally supplement the start and end coordinates recorded above. I'll note the length and direction of my missing access aisle striping here. You can attach a document to a finding using the Upload New Attachment link. Click it to open a dialog for uploading a document to the finding. Note that I do not have an upload button on this model. I drag and drop the document here. Once it shows a green check mark, it's saved to the finding. When I'm done working with the finding details, I click Save to save all my work and record the finding. We now see the new finding in my access aisle space on the right side of the screen. I can edit a finding at any time by clicking the Edit button at the top or bottom of the screen. All the existing findings details are available for modification, but I now have access to a notes area where I can record unlimited freeform notes related to this finding. I'll click the Add Note button to record a new note. This dialog is where I type the information I want to record. I'll note that I spoke with my client about paint options for fixing this access aisle striping issue. I'll save this note, and now it's listed in the notes table along with who added it and when. These buttons allow me to edit or delete a note. I can control the organization of my sections, areas, and spaces using the reorder function. I'll click the reorder button to switch to reorder mode. In reorder mode, the button controls for adding and editing areas, spaces, and findings are replaced by move buttons. If I click and drag a move button, the corresponding section, area, space, or finding moves with the mouse until I release it. I'll move my exterior section to the top of the list by clicking and dragging its move button, then dropping it where I want it. Now my exterior section, along with all the areas, spaces, and findings that belong to it, is at the top of the list. I can use this function to reorder area descriptions and findings within a section. I can also move areas from one section to another, and spaces from one area to another. The same goes for moving individual findings. When I'm done reorganizing, I click the Done Reordering button to save my changes and exit reorder mode. This concludes our overview video of findings details in the BlueDAG evaluation suite. Please contact us if you have questions or would like more information. Thanks for watching.